in the upper right, middle right, whatever you want to say. He is, of course, for Onside Gaming. Or not Onside Gaming, it's time.
Yep, representing Kaizi Gaming there. And over here in the bottom left-hand side, we have our yellow Zerg player. Representing the Juggernauts, it is Meomaika. He's already opening up with a pool first. Nothing too crazy just yet, but you know.
There we go.
We'll see where this leads us.
So, you know, Ravi, you say in a ZVZ, this is the kind of player that you Overlord Scout, and he's got some 12-11 that's also somehow normal hatch timing. No. Mio's the type of guy that you go and you drone scout him because you know he's going to do something insane. Maybe something with Hydras. I think he managed to convince Lambo that Hydras are a good unit, which I didn't know that was even possible, but Mio's just that kind of guy.
Like, how absolutely degenerate you have to be one of the only Zerg players out there that actually acknowledges and says and agrees with all the Protoss and Terran players out there that Hydras are not bad units. I don't know, Bamwolf. I mean, he's definitely separated himself from the standard pack of Zerg players out there, and I'm all for it, man. I'm all for a Zerg player that was willing to admit Hydras are not bad units.
Yeah, I mean, Hydras, they're okay. They can survive. But, of course, Hydras are a decent unit in this matchup that we got going for us in this game. Hydraling Bane is, if not the standard right now in the kind of later half of the mid-game, it is certainly something that players do play a lot of. But, Ravi, we're not here just yet, but I do want to throw it out there. Much has been made of the meta evolution of TVZ over the last couple months, where Mario has been driving this matchup later and later into this mass ghost, almost a mech-ish style. But I don't know that that's something we're necessarily going to see time do, at least not this game, not as Lings are already shown on the map a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's maybe something we can keep an eye out for a little bit later on. I think the curious thing to me about Maru's pushing for the later stage of the game and everything is I don't really know if other Terran players have been able to replicate it. It to me is one of the epitomes of just play like Maru. And then you look at Maru and it's like, okay, cool. So fall 50 supply behind because you do these crazy good timing attacks and stuff, but the Zerg player just plays really well, gets ahead. And then I turtle up and somehow draw out the game being 50, 40, 50 supply down. Like, how is this a thing? How is anyone but Maru supposed to do these things? So I'd be a little bit surprised if Time is going to exactly have that as part of his game plan there. But I don't know. We'll have to see. I think we're definitely still in the early stages like you were kind of hinting at. And so far, Time is just trying to respect Meomaika. He's going to be going for little moves here and there, like going to the bunker up on the high ground to help deal with any kind of lings that came across the map. Realized he didn't really need it, ends up salvaging it immediately. We got a pretty decently fast Baneliness coming on out over here for Meomaika.
This is not a decently fast Baneliness, Ravi. This is an extremely fast Baneliness coming out of Meomaika in this game. It's going to be done in about 15 seconds, and even better, he's going quick +1 Carapace behind this, which makes sense. That's how you often hold off against a 2-on-1, something like that, when you're a bit more afraid of early Terran aggression. But something tells me, Ravi, maybe it's reputation preceding players, but a Baneling Nest done before 4:30 and this Carapace on the way. Meomaika, I think he might have something in store for us.
Yeah, I really want to know if that's going to be the case. I mean, he definitely has a few lings out on the map and stuff, but I don't know. It's kind of like he's still droning up. I really wonder if he was just trying to be prepared against a potential Hellbat attack or something along those lines. He just wanted to have defenses up because he's still it feels like he's really just trying to cover his bases here. He's getting up Spore Crawlers and everything, and there is going to be the drop heading into his own main base right now as Meomaika is getting ready for a very tiny Bane bust here.
That he is. He's got not much, but hey, Baneling Bust is going to do something. Attack on the high ground says nothing about that. Those Marines in the main base as well, looking for a little bit of drones here. Widowmine burrows, and how good is that shot? Good drag off there from Meomaika, so he will not lose all that much. But Ravi, when you commit to a Baneling Nest that is that early, and you commit to some Banes, and you try to bust down, and then actually these Banelings die as well, you need a little bit more. You actually maybe even need to gain drones over the course of that instead of losing a couple. So, Mio, I'm sure he has like 5 different levels of this timing. But timing level 1, not really working out for the man all that well.
Yeah, this has definitely not been going the way that he exactly wanted to go. Getting a little bit supply blocked as well, as we got 5 overlords on the way. A Hydra Den is on the way, but there's still no 4th base being plopped on down. It kind of feels like Meomaika is in a bit of a rough spot, and he is a very aggressive player. So I don't hate the idea that Meomaika is trying to control the match with aggression. But now this is kind of the time period where it's harder to get up drones. It's harder to get up new bases and stuff because, well, this is where the Terran player starts making pretty scary timing pushes and stuff. So Meomaika really has to be able to clean this up pretty effectively in order to kind of stabilize a nice spot in this game where he can get up his next transitions. And oh god, just pure lings against this army? No, no, no.
Carapace does something, Ravi, but really, really not enough here. I mean, yeah, I guess the tanks go down, but oh man, so many overlords here as well. Mio, I don't care what you wanted to make. You're not going to be allowed to make it now. Not really. Lings now running forward. Of course, with Carapace, they tank a little bit longer. And Hydras, they do a lot of damage, but there's just not going to be enough to keep them alive. The bio continues stimming on forward. +1 now done, invalidating that Carapace now as the drones go off the line. It already feels like, yeah, sure, this gets cleaned up, but Mio is not where he wants to be. Not right now, at least.
Yeah, that was pretty devastating amounts of damage there. I mean, the one kind of blessing in disguise of all of this is it does seem like Time is only on 48 workers right now, but his 3rd base is going to be finishing up. So Time, I mean, he was really trying to do a lot more, even more damage over there, and it's not over. So that is the big problem here, right? Is that Time is not done. He has another round coming forward, and now he is starting to get transitions set up. But if Meomaika cannot defend this base, like, this game is over. Meomaika has to defend this base, but he realizes he just doesn't have the units for it. He doesn't have any Banelings. He doesn't have Baneling speed. It's just pure Ling Hydra, and it's not really enough to defend it. There goes down the hatchery. Meomaika is down to 3 bases, losing even more units over here, and I don't know what he's really looking forward to at this point anymore.
I mean, props to him for understanding that he was not going to hold that base. The siege position was too nice. We do not want to take that fight off creep there, Mio. So he rotates over to where his 4th is. He doesn't really lose too much mining, at least from that perspective. And in about 30-40 seconds, he will have +2 armor done, which is a really interesting way to approach this. But I guess the argument is, hey, Hydras, they do a lot of damage. If I can just keep him alive, it is going to be great. So he's going to look to hit a timing here with Hydra range with +2 Carapace, which is just finishing up right around now. And if he can maybe sweep Time's army from the map, maybe that's what he's looking for. Again, this is not how you normally play TBC. So here we go. Lings, Hydra's running forward, trying to get on top of things. Marines, they're kiting backwards, doing what they can, but the reinforcements coming on in from every side. This is not what Meomaika wanted here. Not the time he was looking to hit. Now the 3rd hatch under fire once again, Ravi. How does he hold this?
I mean, I think he may very well with some of the reinforcements hold, just because the reinforcements for Time are a little bit slower to come across the map, but even if he does, it's just going to be so tough of a situation. He's lost basically his entire army, so now he has to just focus on replenishing it. He can't make more workers, whereas Time is getting up a 4th command center. He's getting up his 2-2 upgrades. And yes, Time is starting to retreat back a little bit, but he's continuing to rally across the map slowly but surely, and he's still looking to be in such a positive position. I do want to give props to Meomaika for being able to sneak in that 4th base in the top left-hand side. I don't know that Time is actually aware of that, especially since Creep Sprite isn't going there, but a single Marine is going to move in and actually scouts out that base location.
Yeah, that's actually really nice for Time. Now it's going to show him exactly where he needs to push. And Ravi, we talk about how this game, how Mio has not really been able to drone up all the... Well, first of all, I mean, he's Mio, and he doesn't want to go up 60 drones anyways. That's just how he goes. But it also means that Time is certainly not on his side, although I guess Time is pushing onto Mio's side, so I don't even know that we can say that one. Interestingly enough, we do have +1 melee on the way, which, considering how Hydra-focused this is, that almost surprises me, especially considering the fact that, well, we don't have any Baneling speed. Banelings are not really relevant in this game. But...
yeah. So I think this is a really tough spot here, as we do have another base being established there, as you guys can see in the wonderful picture-in-picture. Lings are going to start coming on forward, looking for surround, and actually do find a good amount of surface area on the Marines. But again, it's just pure Ling with Hydra backup, and it's not enough DPS. Time takes the first game. This is kind of what I was going to go into, Bamwolf. It's a really tough style there to make transition into the later stages, because if you don't have those Banelings there, basically what ends up happening is you saw this time and time again, no pun intended, that the Lings run forward ahead. They try and get surrounds, or they try and get a good amount of surface area there on those Lings. Or sorry, on those Marines. But the Marines just eviscerate the Lings, and they can stay as a nice little plumped up force. The Hydras are trying to do extra damage from like the back lines, but it's not quick enough. It's not fast enough. It's not high enough DPS. And the Hydras also lag a little bit behind the Lings. So the Marines just kind of like eviscerate the Lings. And then the Hydras are just sort of left there at the end and basically are trying to run away as soon as all those Lings die and actually have trouble running away from Stim Marines. So I feel like it's not really a composition that at least didn't transition very well into the later stages of the game at a minimum. It's a tough spot.
Yeah, I think the point of that build is to hit these timings where you have Carapace and your opponent doesn't have quite as much attack. So +0, +1 versus +0. So then you have these Lings that are super tanky. You have Hydras over the top, and you just immediately sweep through. But Time is by far, I think we can say, the best player in China. He's mapped up positively against all the top Koreans, the top Europeans, the top players from North America. Only reason maybe he's fallen off people's radar a little bit is he hasn't really been able to attend these offline events as much because of unfortunate quarantining issues. So now that we get to see him again, I think in part we're just reminded of how dang good the man is. And well, I mean, look at game one.
Yep. Time is definitely a force to be reckoned with, and he's been a solid player in things like TSL and stuff. He's been like a top 12 finisher. He's made it to like TSL 8 and everything, whereas it's Meomaika's first time in TSL. So even in these online tournaments, I think Meomaika is still trying to prove himself. He's had a good month or two so far. Let's see if he can turn this series around and turn it into a really great month to cap things off here. We're going to be starting up here at the top right-hand side of the map, on top of our purple Terran player. He is Time Heisey Gaming.
And from the Juggernauts in the gold, hoping to show us something else a little different, he is the King of Vietnam, Meomaika.
Oh, this is going to be a tough one, though. I feel like that last game, it looked a lot worse, kind of like what you were saying in that last game, Balemolf, because Time was very ready with like both his own aggression with the medevac drop on the other side of the map, but also just he was kind of well set up to deal with the bailing drop or the bailing run by that was getting set up by Meomaika. So when something like that fails so unbelievably one-sidedly, it kind of means that you're just playing from behind, right? So everything after that kind of looks a little bit worse. Meomaika was basically playing from behind a lot of that game. I am curious to see what Meomaika's got in store for us this game, as we do have yet another pool first.
I don't think the pool first should surprise anyone too much. It's a way to set tempo. If you're worried about, say, Reaper harass, I mean, well, you get your Lings up, but also maybe you can run around that. And if you think that your opponent is not going to SCV scout, or you think they're going to do a rather delayed scout, you can maybe delay the command center, especially on a map like Inside and Out, which is actually, well, one of the shorter maps in the pool. But Ravi, I guess going back to that last game, to put a pin in it, there's a reason we don't see bailing busts against Terran anymore. Oh, the Lings, man, I don't know if Time saw that, but Lings go out, and certainly now Time knows. I mean, the hatchery is this late, you know Lings are on the map.
Yeah, exactly. So it really is just, I think the bigger question is just going to be how many Lings were made. Wait, did the SCV moved in? He didn't scout the Roach Warren. He should have seen some drones mining gas with how far the SCV made it in, because he did scout out like drone counts on the gas geyser. But did he actually realize how much is going to be coming and that it's not just like a Ling speed or something? I'm a little worried right now for Time.
Yeah, no, certainly. And because he knows that there are Lings on the map, because he scouted out, okay, this natural is rather delayed. The Reaper is going to be slow onto the map, and looks like, yeah, Time has no... Well, oh, no, he does. He got a bunker on the high ground. I was going to say, adding on Hellions, right? Normally you'd want a Cyclone, maybe, something like that, get that tech lab up. But it's going to be Hellions, it's going to be Marines in the bunker, as now Meomaika will not be able to delay the command center. Ling's waited just long enough for that. And we need to point out, this is a timing, this is a pressure build coming out of Meomaika here. It's not all in. He's already droning up behind that, but he does want to get something. Ideally, maybe a couple workers, a supply depot, maybe knock down all the Hellions, something like that. But Roach is on the map right now. Do we have any Ravagers? No, just 7 Roaches. And let's see if Time is going to be ready for this, Ravi.
Yeah, I mean, Hellions spot this out and see how big the commitment is, just because you're not 100% sure. Even if you think that you saw this coming, you got the bunker up on the high ground, still have to make sure that you actually have your units prepared for this. And Roaches are not, like you said, going to be waiting to morph into Ravagers, but he can start pulling back the softened up Roaches and actually turn them into Ravagers, regen those hit points if he wants to. Looks like he's actually just going to go for SCV kills, though. And you know what? I don't actually hate that much. He's finding a Widow Mine. He should be able to deny some mining down here over here at the natural. Overall, this is still not... I mean, this is a big investment for Meomaika, so I think he still wants to find a little bit more, but... Well, as I say that, I actually see more Lings on the way. Is he looking to try and follow this up with even more aggression? This is going to be so tough to make work. I mean, we even see there's a Banshee on the way and stuff. Usually these things do have a time limit, pardon the pun.
Well, I mean, I guess the play is I say, like, ooh, good job with the Widow Mine, triggering them all off, and now Biles land. Oh, there we go. Very nice. Normally with something like this, you say, yeah, sure, Banshees are fantastic. And this is true, but I think the Roaches, the Ravagers, their only job now is to bust through this wall to allow the Lings to get that surround, but there are just not enough Zerglings just yet to deal with the Hellions. So his Ling's on the right side trying to make something happen. Ideally, the Roaches, Ravagers get on top of this, Ravi, but now SCVs are going to get pulled. How much damage does Meomaika get? Time knows that this is normally not something you do, but more and more Lings come piling on in. And you talk about Banshees. Banshees do not attack nearly quick enough to deal with all these Lings. All about the Hellions, all about the Reapers on the ground. And he's got, what, 15 SCVs have died? Is that worth it for that second level of an attack?
No, I mean, Meomaika is so unbelievably all in off of this, right? He's trying to drone up now. He's making 5 workers, so the aggression's pretty much halted after these 20 Lings are, you know, no longer able to get damage done, assuming Time just kind of stays at home for a little bit. But the Banshees are able to move across the map. That's a scary thing. Number 1, the Banshees can counterattack and do some damage. Scary thing number 2 is that Time now just gets to make non-stop economy on top of some of the units he's made. And Meomaika has to basically respect the potential of these Banshees getting damage done, that the medevac is now out and stuff. And Meomaika doesn't have a third base. Like, that's how all in he is right now. He's halfway done with a lair on 2 bases. So I think that Meomaika's plan over here is to use these Lings to counterattack. I love this as part of the setup over here. Almost gets into the main base as well, and this is great damage. Wow.
Yeah, this is actually so nice for Mio here. Not even the damage. The damage is nice as he actually finds his way into the main base, delaying, not delaying a barracks. Never mind, the Lings run a little bit further forward. But more importantly, it forces everything back. It forces the Hellions, the Marines, all this aggressive force that Time wants to get on the map and start to punish Mio for his sheer temerity to exist in this game. This buys Mio time to get, of course, Ravi, the Mio unit. Hydrogen halfway done.
Hydrogen is going to be halfway done, which I guess will be helpful for the Banshees and the medevacs. This is still going to be an interesting spot, though. Time is going to have pulled back with a good chunk of his units, and he's not really moving out with them. He's got the medevac with 4 Hellions loaded up, ready to head into the main base, and well, frankly, there's 11 Lings and 2 Roaches on the map, and the Lings are nowhere close for these Hellions. The Hydras haven't popped, and, well, Meomaika's not really pulling his drones either. Oh my god. Damage.
It is a sacrifice to the gods of StarCraft. Mio saying, please allow me to get it back into this game. I'll give you 11 drones. But Ravi, unfortunately, sacrificing your own drones does not get you back into games of StarCraft. I think someone misinformed Mio right now.
Well, a few Hydras are about to pop over here. The Queens can gradually make their way over to the third, but I think it's actually going to get canceled over here as the Banshees micro away. They even soften up that drone, don't quite get the kill on it, so nice control here from Mio, but well, Time losing a Banshee is kind of annoying. That's not ideal, but he's busy microing his Hellions. And again, it's still 2-base Terran versus a 2-base Zerg. That is ultimately what it comes down to in my mind, Beowulf, is that no matter what, is Meomaika sitting on 41 workers and 2 bases, he is still all in.
Oh, I mean, 100%. I think Meomaika exists in a constant state of all in. Oh, maybe he's. I mean, maybe he's going to be able to deal with the pressure of time coming out. If he smashes this pressure, I mean, I don't think it's likely, but if he smashes the pressure, is able to run across, because inside and out, for the same reason that Terrans love it, of how short the rush distance is, these builds that Mio likes to go for, it's going to kind of benefit him as well. But Meomaika, for the moment, edging up on that supply block as he continues to lose overlords. But we look at supply, it's roughly equal here. Actually, there's a decent amount of Hydras on the field. And that's actually where the Hellions are going to be rather nice. That bonus damage to light Hydras, they do tend to melt, but Ling's there now. They're going to run forward. Mio trying to buy time here. Now looking to set up that one concave. Ling's run forward, trying to make something happen. Tank getting so much damage here. Time stimming in. Widowmine's burrowing on top of everything. That's not how that's supposed to work. It looks like the Overseer will go down. Mio running forward. It looks like he's going to be able to hold off here, but this is so expensive. You do not want to lose Hydras in this game state.
Yeah, that is definitely a defense, but it, like you said, is going to be a costly defense. And Meomaika, I think he recognizes he cleaned up a lot of army supply. This is probably his best chance to just go. Is going to be able to force out a stim over here from some of the Marines. And, ooh, okay, you know what? Okay, Meomaika is going to pull back. I was going to say, there's this weird potential where Time decides to go for like a drop harassment or something on the other side of the map. Doesn't actually have enough back at home as the just reinforcements stream across the map there from Meomaika. But no, it seems like Meomaika is just going to end up pulling back, and now Time is going to be able to continue with some of the harassment, keep Meomaika at home. And once again, it's still just a great economic position for Time compared to Meomaika's economic situation.
And it is now the drop in the main base. This has really been Mio's weak point here in this game. He lost, what, 11 workers the first time, 8 workers the second time. And when you're sitting here just on such a knife's edge of gameplay, you're like, okay, maybe make something happen. Hey, nice target fire there, though. You can't lose workers like this. So Mio, he's going to have to spend larva into rebuilding those 8 drones. Actually, ideally getting himself up to the 60, 65, even more drone count. But looks like Mio wants to play something a little bit more standard this game. Bailey Nest going down 1-1. Certainly not quite as weird of an all-in coming from the man.
Yeah, I mean, Meomaika's idea of what a Zerg drone count should be is just take whatever the normal drone count would be and subtract like 10 to 15 drones. Transfuse is going to be saving the day against these Marines for a little bit, buy enough time for the rest of the units to get there so he keeps some of these Queens alive. That's going to be helpful, especially with Liberators now starting to come on out. See that Time is trying to establish a third base. I mean, his own worker count, while it is better than Meomaika's, which is saying a lot for a Terran player versus a Zerg, it is still not crazy high. So I would love if Meomaika can identify the move out timings and stuff. If you can find little run bys. I mean, not actually unlike what we saw Rex doing versus Crater. I do think there's still a potential for Meomaika to make something happen. I mean, that is the cool thing about Meomaika's situation. He's in a very rough spot, but he does have tools available to mount potential comebacks here.
I mean, Rob, you look at the supply here. Normally, this pushing time of the Terran wants to be up in supply a little bit. They want to have that +1 stim timing. But no, Meomaika, because he's cut drones so hard, and because he's been able to get this 4th hatchery up, he's sitting here on just about +20 army supply. He's got 1-1 done, but this is not a fight he wants to take. Not really. Lings are on the corner. Tanks are getting so much damage. Queens in the liberation zones, and there's just so much damn freedom, Ravi. Yeah, I had hopes. I had dreams. Mio, unfortunately, his are dashed in time.